नमस्कार दोस्तों। पिछली वीडियोस में हमने देखा कि कैसे हम एंटीजन एंटीबॉडी रिएक्शन का यूज़ करके डिजीज़ डायग्नोसिस करते हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ वेरियस टूल्स। इसी प्रोसेस को हम इम्यूनोएसे और सीरोलॉजी कहते हैं। आपको याद होगा कि पहली वीडियो में हमने डिस्कस किया था कि इम्यूनोएसे इज बेसिकली ऑफ टू टाइप्स। वन इज प्राइमरी बाइंडिंग एंड सेकेंड इज सेकेंडरी बाइंडिंग. Primary binding is basically a modern techniques like ELISA, RIA, and secondary binding there are four of them which we have discussed. One is precipitation, agglutination, complement fixation, and the last one is neutralization reactions or test. So above three, precipitation, in that after the antigen antibody reaction, precipitation happens. In agglutination process happen, and in complement fixation, complement get fixed. So as we know that secondary binding means what? After binding of antigen antibody, there is a secondary reaction. So in these all there is secondary reaction. So today we are going to discuss neutralization, and we will find out what kind of secondary reactions there in the neutralization test. So starting with, what is neutralization? As in chemically we know neutralization is a reaction of acid with base. The same way we use this term for the antigen antibody reaction, in which certain effects of bacterial exotoxin or a virus is blocked by specific antibody. So आज हम इसी वीडियो में यही देखेंगे कि कैसे हम न्यूट्रलाइजेशन, जो कि एक एंटीजन एंटीबॉडी रिएक्शन है, उसकी मदद से डिजीज़ डायग्नोसिस करते हैं और इसका एप्लीकेशन कैसे है सीरोलॉजी और इम्यूनोएसे में. सो लेट्स सी द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ न्यूट्रलाइजेशन रिएक्शन इन द इम्यूनोएसे. Basically, we are going to discuss three. First one, viral neutralization test. Second one, hemagglutination inhibition test. Third, antitoxin neutralization test. And fourth is plaque inhibition test. So starting with viral neutralization test. In a viral neutralization test, serum and virus suspension are reacted together in equal volume and inoculated into suspectable animal host और सेल कल्चर. अब समझते हैं ये क्या है. देखिए, सीधी सी बात है इसमें कि हम वायरस के किसी पर्टिकुलर एंटीजन की, जो वायरस की सरफेस पे है, उसका कुछ एंटीबॉडी हमारे पास पहले से होगा मार्केट से मिलके, उससे हम उसका रिएक्शन कराएंगे. सो इट गेट्स न्यूट्रलाइज्ड. सो इफ दैट एंटीजन इज गेटिंग न्यूट्रलाइज्ड, and after that the virus won't be able to infect or get incorporated into the cell, so it won't show growth in any kind of culture. So basically what we are doing to test that any serum, any blood have a particular antibody or not, or infected with particular virus or not, we take the sample and we test for that virus. First of all, what disease is suspected, we have the antibody of that disease from the market, and we grow the virus in the culture media. Then we neutralize that virus with a particular antibody. As you can see that it has been written here, in a viral neutralization test, serum and virus suspension. So we have to create a virus suspension. So first of all, take the sample where you have where you suspect that this virus is growing, or this disease is due to this virus only. So first of all, culture that virus, and then that virus should be neutralized with the suspected disease antibody. If the neutralization takes place, so how we will find that neutralization has been done means that particular antibody belongs for that particular virus. So how we will find that? So after neutralizing that virus, we will infect that neutralized virus into a animal host or a cell culture. If the animal host get that sign symptoms of that disease, or in the cell culture if the growth has been shown, then we will say that this virus is not that virus for which we have used this antibody. But if that virus really get neutralized and then we infect that neutralized virus with susceptible host or cell culture, then surely no growth or no sign or symptom can be shown in the that animal or in that culture. So it's a very simple kind of reaction, but it's time taking, because you have, first of all you should have some virus suspension. So for creating virus suspension, you should culture the virus, and you should have that antibody for that particular disease which you are suspecting. So and since the culture is time taking, so this viral neutralization test is time taking test, but it is you know complete test. It gives you certain specific result that yes, this disease is due to this virus only, and it's very simple in nature. So nowadays also in this modern era this is used. Okay, so first one is viral neutralization test, followed by second test, that is hemagglutination inhibition assay or hemagglutination inhibition test. This is also a very used, very popular test for virus. In this, what we do, it is a very popular test used for detection of antibodies in patient sera, which agglutinate with the hemagglutinin antigen present on the surface of some viruses. This test is useful for the diagnosis of various viral disease, example influenza. तो हम बात करते हैं इन्फ्लुएंजा वायरस की. जब आप इन्फ्लुएंजा वायरस को डिटेल में पढ़ते हैं तो आपको पता होगा कि इसके पास दो एंटीजन होते हैं सरफेस पे, न्यूरामिडिन एंड हीमैग्लूटिनिन. As we have discussed in the agglutination, that certain viruses have property of getting agglutinate the RBC in the blood. They do this with the help of this antigen which is known as hemagglutinin. On the surface of virus, hemagglutinin is there, and if that hemagglutinin is open without any binding, not neutralized with any antigen, then it will bind with RBC, and it will show, as we know, RBC is an insoluble antigen. RBC have an insoluble antigen because it's bind with the larger antigen. So it shows agglutination. But now we use this property to diagnose the disease. And how we do it? Let's see with the help of a figure. In first row you can see RBC with measles virus. Measles virus also have that antigen, and they bind. Since the antigen is well exposed, they will bind with the specific site on the RBC, and they will show a clumping or a agglutination, and we can see the agglutination from outside. So if now see the part B, RBC is there in the solution, virus is there in the solution, but you have added a antiviral measles antibody from the serum. Now if person is infected with this disease, then definitely he have the antibody for that disease in the serum. So you have taken his serum, and virus culture is there for you, and RBC is there for any you have any animal or RBC. Now you can see this antibody will bind with the all the exposed hemagglutinin antigen on the virus surface. So as all the hemagglutinin is bind, so they are not free for the agglutination. So process of agglutination will not be shown. This means that the sample, that the serum which is having that particular antigen for this particular virus. So HI test is one of the most popular and well used test for the virus, since it gives, but it is only for those viruses which have such property of showing hemagglutination. So simply, if the blood have particular antibody for such viruses which can show hemagglutination, the sample of after the test will not show hemagglutination, but if blood don't have that antibodies, it will show hemagglutination. So that was all for hemagglutination inhibition test, which is used for all those viruses which have a hemagglutinin as antigen. Now third, toxin and antitoxin test. Seek test is basically example. We are taking two example of this: Seek test and Naegler reactions. Naegler reaction is most famous one, so I am going to discuss it little more detail. So Seek test. It was used in past to know the susceptibility of individual for Corynebacterium diphtheria. So अगर इसका इन्फेक्शन है कोराइनिबैक्टीरियम का, तो हम यूज़ करते थे सीक टेस्ट. that is it should be known. Sometimes it has been asked in the exam. Now we are taking the Naegler's reaction and I'm going to explain it well. First of all, why Naegler reaction is used. So Naegler reaction is used for differentiating Clostridium, spelling is mistake, sorry for that. So it is used for separating, for knowing that differentiating Clostridium perfringens from other Clostridium species. As you know, Clostridium culture we can grow in anaerobically any that Robertson cooked meat media. But after growing that bacteria, we know that it's a Clostridium. How we identify that it is Clostridium perfringens? For that we use the Naegler reaction. So what we do in the Naegler reaction? First of all, you should know about Clostridium perfringens. It secretes alpha toxin, which is not very common in other Clostridium species. And what is alpha toxin is actually? It is phospholipase. Actually, it shows lecithinase, reaction. It breaks the lecithin. So that we know alpha toxin is phospholipase, means what? It breaks the phospholipids, and lecithin is best example of phospholipid. So we have arranged a certain platform, so it will use we will use this property of alpha toxin for detection of this Clostridium perfringens. So first of all, we will have a culture plate, a agar plate, and we will divide it in two parts. So principle is there. So bacterial lecithinase break down the lecithin, which is a component of egg yolk, to an insoluble diglyceride, result in opaque hollow surrounding the colony grown in the egg yolk agar medium. So first of all, you should only know two things about this or any test. Why it is used? So Naegler's reaction is used to differentiate Clostridium perfringens from other Clostridium species. And principle behind it, bacterial lecithinase, which is alpha toxin, breaks the lecithin of egg yolk. So we know phospholipase activity has been shown by the alpha toxin. So we should bring a phospholipid so that it can show. So phospholipid which is readily available is lecithinase in the egg yolk. So we will have an agar with egg yolk. So a petri dish in a which agar is mixed with egg yolk. Now sticking is done, but you can see sticking is four stickings are there in this particular example, but half of this agar with egg yolk have an anti-alpha toxin and half have no anti-toxin to other side. Means what? They have antibody against the alpha toxin. So half part which have antibody. So now just see, the after sticking the bacteria will release alpha toxin both on the both the sides, but since at the right side you can see we have anti alpha toxin, we have antibody which will neutralize the alpha toxin. So why neglect reaction is a part of neutralization test or neutralization reaction? Because alpha toxin has been showing neutralization in this particular test. So half part which have anti alpha toxin, basically it is an antibody, and alpha toxin will act as antigen and it will neutralize this. So you can see no any degradation in the lecithin has been shown. But come to left side, it don't have any antitoxin or any antibody against alpha toxin. So alpha toxin will work, and as soon as alpha toxin will work, it will convert the lecithinase into diglyceride, as I have been telling you earlier. So as diglyceride is formed, it gives a little opaque appearance. So we can see from outside very properly that this reaction, this sticking of is of those bacteria which secretes alpha toxin. So, and we know the most important in that series is Clostridium perfringens. So we can easily differentiate Clostridium perfringens by this Naegele's reactions from other Clostridium species. So guys, this was all for neutralization test. Hope you all enjoying it. And we have completed the secondary binding reaction. As you can see in the first video, what are they? They are only four: precipitation, agglutination, complement fixation, and neutralization. Now this series is completed, which include basic introduction to the serology. The primary binding means ELISA and RIA can also be done, but I don't think they are very everyone knows about this. But precipitation, agglutination, complement fixation, and neutralization, they don't have very good quality product in on this YouTube. So I have made the videos on these topics. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you.